All right, folks, today is Friday, August 12th, 2022, and it's time to make the buys into the $1 million portfolio. So I missed last month's buy, but it's not a big deal. If you missed one for whatever reason, as long as you continue to do what you do on a larger long-term scale, you should be fine. In terms of account value right now, we're sitting at $982,000. So on a nominal basis, it's down from $1 million by about 1.8%. But if we were looking back to January of 2022, I probably started the year with $1,020,000, $1,022,000. So the portfolio is actually down about 3.8%, or thereabouts year to date. Which, when you look at the S&P 500, which is the benchmark that I compare myself against for this portfolio, it's down 11%. Now, granted, this portfolio has quite a large cash position, so you can argue that, you should take that 3.8% down year to date and perhaps double it. But even if we do that, it's still down a lot lower than the S&P 500 by a pretty significant margin. So I think the portfolio is working. In terms of making the buys for this month, my calculator is telling me that I should buy these amounts into the NASDAQ 100, the long-term treasury, and the gold portfolio or gold position. I'm not making any buys into the REIT position, which is represented by Realty Income Corp. The reason for that is I'm a bit overweighted. And in fact, my calculator is saying that I should sell some of this to rebalance. But since we're doing this on a monthly basis and adding to it, it's fine to just leave this alone and recalibrate for these three securities to bring it up to speed. So if you look at the portfolio, market value is $543,500. So when we make our $30,000 buy into this, that should bring it up to $573,500. Which is what we see right here, $573,500. So this is telling me to go ahead and buy 17 shares of the NASDAQ 100. So let's go ahead and do that. So we are in our portfolio, buy 17 shares, market order, $5,600. Click review. Everything looks good, so I am going to place the order. But the next buy will be 116 shares of TLT, which is long-term U.S. Treasury. So I'll go to this one and buy 116 shares of TLT. So let me verify that again. Yep, 116. And that's about 13,400. Market order, review. Everything looks good, so I'll place it. The last one is going to be almost $11,000 in gold, 65 shares of the gold ETF. So we'll go and buy 65 shares of the gold ETF, about 11,000. Review this order. And it looks good, so I'm going to place the order. My market value should jump up by about $30,000. And then the positions for NASDAQ 100, TLT, and gold should go up accordingly. So let's go ahead and do this and see what happens. And as we figured, it's up by about $30,000, and these positions have adjusted accordingly. So I've given some thought to some slight changes that I'm going to do to this risk parity style portfolio going forward. So at some point, I'm probably going to get rid of these tiny holdings. They just look weird to me. They're down significantly from when I started the position. And really, I started these positions for these funds because they are closed to new investor. And I just wanted to have the ability to be able to buy into them in the future. They're basically growth funds and global growth funds. But with my risk parity style portfolio, I don't think I need this. So at some point, I may just get rid of this. They're really nominal values in the portfolio. We're talking under $100 for both of them. So it is what it is. I may get rid of this. I will keep the long-term, just like direct bond holding that I have, and leave that alone. But the one change that I'm thinking about, actually two changes to the core holdings, would be that at some point I may move away from the NASDAQ 100 for my large cap growth. So right now I'm in this fully, and maybe move to more of something like Schwab, large cap growth ETF, which is SCHG. And the only reason for doing that is that it covers a little bit of a different basket of growth stocks. So the NASDAQ 100 is basically the top 100 stocks in the NASDAQ exchange. And as NASDAQ only, there are certainly stocks in the NASDAQ that are not growth. And there's a very strong correlation between NASDAQ 100 and the Schwab large cap growth. When will I do that? I have no idea. But it's just something that I've thought about. The second thing that I've thought about is perhaps reducing this gold holding from 15% down to 10%. So in my allocation right now, it's basically 50% large cap growth, 25% long-term treasury, and then 15% gold. And what I'm thinking here is to reduce this at some point down to 10% and either increase the REIT holding by 5% or increase the stock holding by 5%. And I'm not doing this anytime soon, but I'm just throwing the idea out there. The reason for that is that this is great when we're in an environment where we are now, where gold is a decent hedge against inflation. It's not gone up or gone down a whole lot this year, and in some periods, it's done really well. And when I needed to rebalance, this has helped it. But over the long term, I think that you probably don't want more than about 10% in gold in your holding. So at some point in the future, I'll do that. I don't know when that will be, but that's upcoming. But in any case, that is the update for the $1 million portfolio. We're getting closer to coming back to our $1 million mark, so that makes me happy. But over the last 7-8 months, I can definitely see that it's working really well against the benchmark, which is the S&P 500. So in any case, that's the update for the month. Check back with me later, and I'll do a portfolio review at the end of this month, and I'll see you then. Later.